Good morning, people. Don't mind the mad do-rag line. Just got up about half an hour, not half an hour, but an hour ago. So we have had bearish momentum to the downside on GU, as you can see. Actually, let me move my camera over to this side. We've had this tap into 4-hour supply last week, as you can see. Then we've also had this 4-hour, I don't know why I put H1, this is a 4-hour fair value gap filled in, and we pushed down very bearishly from that. Dropping down onto the lower time frame this morning, as you can see, we've swept out Asia range highs. Stop. We've swept out Asia range highs, and then if we drop down onto a lower time frame, up here we've come up, pushed up, created a supply zone here. Well, this wasn't a supply zone until we had this change of character here, and then this break of structure here. I have now placed a limit order on this supply zone here, as you can see. Let me just make that accurate at 202. I'm looking to get tapped in on this supply zone, this 1 minute supply zone. Like I said, it is a 1 minute supply zone, so it is a very tight stop. It's 5.6 stop, or 5.6 lot pip stop. As you can see, the only downside to this trade I can find is the fact that we have this higher time frame 1 hour fair value gap just above that hasn't been tapped into yet. However, it fits my plan perfectly, and the fact that we've had such 4-hour bearishness, such daily bearishness, and also now we've swept out Asia range highs, it's given me more of a reason to enter. It still fits my trading plan, so I'm still going to enter. I don't normally use the DXY. However, if we look at the DXY does look very bearish right now. We are going to come back down a little bit, which will then push up GU, potentially, hopefully, I'm hoping into my supply zone, and then we get tapped in. So we'll see what happens. As you can see, we're pushing up a little bit now. We've found some support here within this, probably this 3 minute fair value gap. Hopefully that pushes us up into my supply, into my limit order, and we get tapped in. We either lose really quickly or win really fast, so we'll see what happens. Yo people, as you can see, let me just drag over my trade locker. As you can see, we're in the trade. I'll go on TradingView to make more sense for you. I got tapped into the trade office 1 minute demand or supply zone that I had marked out this morning I spoke about. I've already gone break even once we came down to 4R, which was around here. I went to break even. I was at training, so I couldn't really get a perfect break even. It didn't really matter. When I say perfect break even, I mean within timing. I saw that we had come down, shot down a bunch, and I wasn't really paying attention to what kind of R range we were at. I just saw that we were fully deep in profit, so I thought we may as well protect the position now. So I protected the position. We're coming back up to this area of another area of supply. Hopefully we tap into it, tap into this area without stopping me out of the full position on my entry. So we'll see what happens, but good trade, perfect execution, can't complain, it is what it is. Hopefully we just decide to reverse now and drop all the way back down. But like I said, we've already secured our risk off of this trade. So regardless, whatever happens, this was an amazing trade. So as you can see, I was right. Euro or GBP USD stopped out at break even. We came all the way down here. I didn't take profits. Like I said, I was at training, in the middle of training, in the middle of my warm up. So I just went to break even, didn't take any partials or anything like that. Stopped out at break even, not upset about it because the trade was a perfect trade. Trade was literally still a 10 out of 10, probably 9 out of 10, simply because the one thing I did put in my trading journal when I entered this trade was that there is this 1 hour fair value gap here that potentially needs to get tested before we push down lower. I was still confident that short term we would push down, but yeah, that's that, and that's the start of the week. Monday, first trade placed. See what happens later in the week. Like I said, I was looking to re-enter, or I just posted on my Instagram account that I was looking to re-enter this trade straight away, or get an opportunity to re-enter, simply because we've come back up and we've tapped into now a 5 minute supply zone and whipped off of it very heavily. This happened to me the other day. I got stopped out of a trade, break even, or no, I got stopped out of a trade at stop loss, and then we dojied put a bearish hammer in straight off of the trade. Now, this isn't me saying that every time this does occur to do that, because that's not the right way to trade. However, I am still very confident in this trade idea, so I am entering again. Slightly less risk this time, or not less risk, same risk, because I got stopped out of break even, and I do believe that price still does have the potential to go down, and because I didn't lose anything on the last trade, I am happy to risk that 0.5% again. So I've entered again simply off of this bearish doji, or bearish hammer, whatever you want to call it, just because I do still believe in this trade idea. If we get stopped out, then I am wrong for the day, but seeing as though we got stopped out at break even, I am happy to re-enter this position. I think that this is something that everyone needs to understand, that if you have reason to believe your price is going to go in your direction and you get stopped out, whether it's break even, whether you get stopped out by a pip and then price presents some sort of move that shows you that you still could get in on the right side of the market, I don't think it is beneficial to sit on your hands in that situation. I think you should re-enter the markets, and that's what I'm doing right now, re-entering again with 0.5 risk. Either hit stop loss or take profit, but like I said, seeing as though we didn't lose anything this morning because I went break even, I am happy to re-enter this based off of the fact that we did get in off of a 1 minute supply zone here, as you can see, for the first trade, and now we printed this 5 minute supply zone that we've come up to and dumped straight off of on a 5 minute candle. So a 5 minute supply zone with a 5 minute bearish candlestick, I'm happy to enter on that, and I have entered, so we'll see what happens. Yo people, so we have been stopped out of the GU trade, which means I am wrong for my bias on the day, or not for the whole day, but I am wrong about this trade. I'm not going to look to re-enter a third time, simply just because, like I said, I was happy to re-enter based off of this 5 minute supply zone that we formed. We tapped into it, entered off of that, and now we've been stopped out of this position, so that's 0.5% loss on the day for GBP USD. I'm, like I said, not going to try and re-enter again. There's no point. The only reason I re-entered is because of what I saw. Now, there is some news that comes out today. I'm not too sure what it is. It is PMI. Is there news tomorrow? There's JOLTS openings. Okay, so there's PMI today at 3 p.m. I may potentially still look for an entry on GU or EU during the New York session open in about an hour or so. We'll see what happens, and I'll update you. If I don't end up taking a trade or looking for anything during then I'll see you tomorrow. Manners. Yo guys, so we haven't seen my typical sweep of London highs, and that's going to be due to the fact that this news came out at 3 p.m. pushing, which is good for the US dollar, which will push the pound dollar down. Now, as you can see, we're having that push down. We didn't initially get our push up above London session highs. However, what we did get is we came up to this area of demand or supply, and I'm looking to potentially get in. Essentially, okay, I'm not going to do anything because what the hell is going on here? Now that does not look very nice. I was not expecting that to happen. And initially what I was going to say to you guys is I wanted to get off on this 3 minute area of supply here. I was going to place a limit order here and potentially put my stops above London session highs with my TP all the way down to London session lows. I was going to put my stop loss above the supply zone, but I thought maybe we push up slightly higher and invalidate it. However, I have no idea what's going on with this candle right now because there's no news. Oh, there's FOMC member, but that's yellow folder, so I don't understand why at 3:22 we're printing massive candles like this. But I'm gonna decide what I'm gonna do in a moment and see. I think I'm probably gonna leave it now based off of this massive candle. I'm not really a big fan of this unless we close nicely off of this zone, and then I can, but then even then, if we close nicely off of this zone down here, it will be too much of a poor risk to reward trade for me to get into, so we might just be done for the day based off of this massive dick of a candle. Yeah, I'm just gonna make the decision to just call it a day because I don't know what the hell's going on here. I have no idea what's going on here right now, so I'm just going to call it a day. I'm not going to bother trying to get into, because now, for example, if I want to get into a trade, I have to wait for a break of structure all the way down at this low, because we've had a massive dick of a candle. By the time we have a break of structure there, we could potentially retrace into something up here, but I don't like these candles right now. They're not looking too nice. I think that what's likely to happen is we come back, test something like this again, and make a trade tomorrow. But yeah, I'm staying out of the markets for the rest of the day today, simply because what the hell is this? There's no news for another 5 minutes. The last news was 25 minutes ago, so this is just the market deciding to act very weird. I'm gonna get rid of all of my analysis and call it a day until tomorrow, man. That's the thing. You gotta learn when to. You gotta know when to just step away. And right now, I'm gonna step away from this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm out. Yeah. What's good, people? What is good? Let me go to my right screeny shit. So we didn't get tapped into EU. EU kind of took quite a while to sweep out Asia range highs. I was looking for an Asia range high sweep to then get in after a break of structure on the supply or demand area. It looks like I should have got in on this fair value gap here. I'm learning how to use fair value gaps after Asia range or after liquidity sweeps now. I learned how to use the supply and demand. For me, it's really easy. As soon as we get the change of character, after the change of character, I wait for a break of structure, and then I wait for a supply zone to get hit that was created before the change of character, if that makes sense. So the supply zone like this that led to the change of character that then led to the break of structure, then I wait for this to get tapped. However, we pushed. The reason I didn't enter or haven't put my limit here, I had my limit as you can see on this supply zone here. The reason I put it there, and I am actually going to, let me bring up Trade Locker now because I do actually need to get rid of that. Where's my pending position? Here. Actually, let's have a look. I could leave it I will leave it for a while because it might get tapped into during New York session. But then, now I'm going to get rid of it because if we do come back up in New York session, I'll be waiting for a sweep of London highs. But the reason I put my supply zone here instead of waiting for this one to get tapped into and put my limit here was simply because I had already got in on GJ. As you can see, we had Asia range high sweep, change of character, break of structure, retracement into this 5 minute supply zone, and we've started to push away from it. The reason, like I said, I didn't put my limit on EU here was because we had already pushed away far enough from this to where if this did reverse, because in my experience during London session, EU and GJ tend to move very similarly. On the off chance they'll move differently. However, because we had pushed so far away from this supply zone and I'm in profit on this, I thought that if we do come back up to push into this zone, we most likely will come back up and stop me out here. So I thought to myself, there's no point me getting in that trade and putting my supply or my limit order there when I'm already in profit on a trade, if that makes sense. So that's the reason behind that. We are up just 0.5% right now. We're only up 1R. This will go to 5R if we hit full TP. I'm going to set an alert on this line here, which is 3R, I believe. At 3R, I'm going to go break even and then maybe secure some profits, maybe secure 50% and let the rest run. But yeah, that's what I've done this morning, and I'll get back to you later on when whatever happens. Yo, what's good, people? I think I'm about to close this trade simply because we have Jolt's job openings at 3 p.m. and that can have a big effect on price. And we haven't pushed away, or we did push away from TP. We didn't even come down to 3R, or we've pushed away from entry, sorry. And the 4 hour is about to close very, very, very bullishly. So I don't think it would make sense to stay in this trade. Number one, because of how the 4 hours closing, and then number two, simply because of that job openings news that is about to come out. So I think I'm gonna basically close this trade out right now for break even. Even though I don't want to close it and then price rallies down, I'd rather close the trade and just wait for another opportunity later in the week. I don't want to lose percentage based off of news just doing some stupidness. So we are going to be smart here, as much as I don't want to close that and close that position. Yeah, simple as close the position. Better to protect your capital than to try and make more when there's high volatility about to come into the market. Simple as. I will potentially also be looking for, depending on how 3 to 4 p.m. news comes out, I will look for a 3 to 4 p.m. silver bullet on the GU or EU, depending on what happens with news. If news comes out a bit too volatile, then I'll allow it. If news comes out and doesn't really have an effect on market price, then I'll trade. But yeah, man, I'm out. Yo, people. So it's looking like we should have stayed in the trade. News came out and it pushed the GBP USD, Euro USD up, which means that it was bad. Actually, let's check. It means that it was bad for the US dollar, surely. Yeah, bad for the US dollar. So it's pushed EU and GU up. However, it's pushed GJ down. It looks like I should have stayed in the trade. However, like I said, that's just a gamble. Risking the position based simply just off news is a gamble. Like I had told you, the 4-hour candle had closed like this, so we closed the position out right there because there's no need to hold a trade when news is coming out and the 4-hour candle looks like that. However, what I'm looking to do now is I'm going to look to enter a 3 to 4 p.m. silver bullet trade if we get the possible entry for that. So I'm going to be looking for a fair value gap to spawn, to not spawn, I always say that, a fair value gap to form in the 3 to 4 p.m. window, and then stops above the candlesticks that form the fair value gap, and we'll take TPs all the way down back to Asian range lows down here. So I'll see what happens and I'll update you on that. On second thought, I've decided that I'm just not going to trade. I'm not going to place any trade. I'm not going to place any position just because I'm not completely confident. Like, I'm not happy with what I'm seeing. Like I said this morning, we were in the trade over here, blah, blah, blah. I had my limit order here. We got tapped in above here. Boom. This is what we're in this morning. We closed out at break even. Now, I could say that we're coming back up to this supply zone here, put a limit order here, and it is likely that at the end of the day, by the end of today, we do push down to my overall TP point this morning, which was Asian range lows. But I've learned over time that when my gut doesn't feel right about something, just don't do it. Don't involve yourself. Don't get involved. There's no point. I don't feel comfortable trading that right now just because there's a lot of stuff that isn't looking too nice with the trade, so I'm not gonna bother to force myself. I'm not gonna bother to force a trade. I'm not gonna try and make something. My head is itching, fam. Fucking hell. But yeah, I'm not gonna bother to try and force a trade because when you force trades, you tell yourself you're seeing stuff that you're not really sure on. You tell yourself you're seeing stuff that you want to capitalize on, but it doesn't really fit your plan. So one thing I've learned is if I'm not completely content with it in my gut and I'm not happy with it in my gut, then there's no point trading, because at that point I'm just going to be trading for the sake of trading, placing positions for the sake of placing positions, and it's just going to end up working against me. I'm only 1% down on the account, so at the end of the day I shouldn't be even in a situation where I'm trying to take trades that are unnecessary, because it's not like I'm trying to get out of drawdown. It's not like I'm worried about being deep in drawdown. And now I'm 1% down. That's nothing. One trade will bring me completely out of that. One trade could still pass my stage one. Do you know what I'm saying? So just one thing I wanted to tell you guys, for the people that watch these videos that actually do trade and are trying to trade and want to get better at trading. If you're not confident and you feel like there's something, you're like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Don't do it, because you know exactly what you want to see. And when it happens, you should just pull the trigger. So if you're looking at something and you're thinking to yourself, oh, should I do this? Shouldn't I do that? You're already asking yourself the wrong questions, because there should be no questions in your trading plan. You should see this, you should see this, and you should see this. Like this morning, when I was telling you, I saw what I saw this morning on the 5-minute time frame. This supply zone get filled, or this Asia range high get swept. Boom, here. Asia range high got swept. Then I dropped down into the 3-minute. We had a change of character, a break of structure. Then I put my supply zone up here. We retraced into the supply zone, which is where I put my limit. Stops above, TP's down here. That's very boom, 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 boom. That's structured, because that's what I know works and that's what I want to look for. And these are things that I decide that I was going to implement into my trading plan. But if you're sat there and you're looking at something and you're thinking, should I, shouldn't I, you're already in the wrong situation. You're already doing something wrong, because there should be no questions. There should be no, what happens, what do you get what I'm saying? It should be boom boom boom, this happens, I do this happens, I do this happens, I execute. Simple as that. So that's one thing I realized, I just clocked about what I was doing myself. Even if this trade does now, we do react to this supply zone and we hit all the way down here. At the end of the day, in order for me to enter a trade, there needs to be a prior liquidity sweep, a change of character, break of structure, and then a retracement. We haven't had that. I'm now just trying to get back in on a trade that I already closed, and I closed the trade for a reason. So there's lessons to learn there, and that's something that I think you guys should pay attention to if you're watching these videos, to watch somebody that has been trading for longer than you. That's a piece of advice I'd give you. But I'm out. I will be back. Let's actually have a look. Tomorrow. Yeah, I will be back tomorrow morning to trade if there is any trading opportunities. If there's not, then I won't be, but there's no news tomorrow until 1:15 p.m. So I will be looking for either a London Open silver bullet trade or a Asia range sweep, blah blah blah. But I'm bearish on EU, bearish on GU, and at the moment I'm bearish on GJ. However, with GJ, GJ is kind of a bit in the middle, because we look at the daily and we're high, low, high, low, high, low. This low is higher than this low, so we could be reversing right now. And last week I did want to see these highs get taken out here, but the daily is showing us we're still bearish. The 4 hour now, as you can see, the 4 hour, we have just kind of almost broken structure. So it's looking like the 4 hour is going to reverse. If the 4 hour does reverse, then I'll wait for a complete reversal on the 1 hour. So I'll wait for a break of here before trading anything, unless in the mornings I see 4 hour structure interlinked with lower time frame analysis. So if tomorrow morning we get a 4 hour break of structure to the upside, but then we also get Asian range low sweep, change of character, break of structure, then I will look to get in on a demand level up to highs, because daily holds less weight to me than 4 hour when I'm scalping. Daily still helps me with overall direction, but if 4 hour shows me proof and strong confluence to move up to the upside, linked in with the 30 minute, the 15 minute, or the 5 minute, then it's a no-brainer. I'm going to get in and capitalize on that short-term move. But yeah, that's what I'm looking to do in the next, what day is it? Tuesday today. That's what I'm going to do in the next 3 days. But yeah, manners, people. Yo, what's going on, people? As you can see, I have entered Euro USD sells. The reason for this is, let me go into the higher time frame to explain. Daily supply tapped into, pushed off of. 4 hour fair value gap tapped into, pushed off of. Lower time frame, 1 hour. Let's go. Liquidity swept, pushed off of. Now this liquidity, we had an Asia range high sweep and we pushed down during New York, or during London. We then pushed back up during New York and swept out the sweep of Asia range highs. We pushed down. When we pushed down, we created a 5 minute fair value, or a 5 minute supply zone. Yeah, 5 minute supply zone up here, which we never got tapped into. I would have entered a position like this to the downside, but we never got tapped into it, which means that this supply zone is still valid, and because it hasn't been mitigated. So what I noticed this morning is I want to get into sales for today. I originally had a 2 hour supply zone marked out here. However, we pushed up high deeply into it. So I realized, cool, let me refine this zone, and it's a 5 minute zone now. What I should have done this morning is place the limit order. What's going on here? Place the limit order on this zone, stops above, right here, TPs down to wherever I wanted TPs to be. However, I didn't get to do that because I was at training and I was busy. So I realized that now we tapped into this supply zone. We broke structure onto the downside. So I got in on a break of structure for a lower risk to reward ratio trade. However, the trade will still play out, or I believe the trade will still play out how I want it to play out. Only problem with it now is that 3RR, 50% of the position is down here, whereas if I was able to get in directly on the supply zone, we would have been able to probably already be risk free. Now, I do believe price is going to continue to head down or reverse now, because we've had this retracement up into this high time frame zone. And I do believe price does want to now create another leg to the downside. We pushed all the way down last week, or the beginning of this week. I did believe we needed a retracement, and now we've had that retracement. I am strongly believing that price is going to now dump to the downside. Hopefully we get that reaction. If not, it will just be another loss, is what it is. But one thing I might potentially do is, if price does come all the way back up to this supply zone, I might actually get in on a re-entry and double down on the position, just because I entered the first position with 50 or 0.5% risk. I don't mind adding another 0.5% to make it 1% overall on the whole trade, just because I ideally would have liked to get tapped in here. So if we do come back up to tap into it again, I'll look at the candlestick formations. If they are very large momentum candles to the upside, then I won't, because if they're large momentum candles to the upside, most likely what we're doing is pushing straight through that supply zone. If we're just creeping up there, printing some bearish structure, and then we tap in, and then I will enter in that way. Just from my knowledge, if we do have extremely high momentum candles pushing to the upside, there's no point me getting in for a sell, because there's a lot of momentum to the upside in the market, and it just is counterintuitive. But yeah, that's what I've done this morning, looking to capitalize. Yo, people, as you can see, we were stopped out of the EU trade. Is what it is. We are now minus 1.5% on the funded account, stage 1. We'll be back later on to take a position tomorrow. Manners. Yo, people. So I have entered another trade on GBP US, on Euro USD, as a matter of fact. Simply because, okay, let me actually just put this here and let me redo, what is that? 1.04297. Let me just change my pen in on a 1.04297 instead of 98, just in case we don't get tapped in. Okay, so the reason I have entered this trade is I got stopped out of the previous trade, and the 30-minute candle closed like this, very bearishly. Number one. Number two, this supply zone that I said I wanted to enter off of has stayed strong. We wicked above, closed below. My belief is we wicked above to take out London session highs. We have sweeped out London session highs. We have had a change of character here. Boom, let me go. Look. Change of character right here. We've had a break of structure right here. Now this is a supply zone. Make this as accurate as possible. Right there. This is a supply zone, the last supply zone that was formed before the break of structure. So we had a break of structure. This is the last supply zone on the 1 minute time frame. I've placed my stop loss above the supply zone. I probably could bring my stop loss down quite a bit. I might do that in a moment. I'll bring my stop loss down a little bit. I'm hoping to get tapped in and for us to push all the way back down to Asian session lows. Asian range lows down here. So let me, that's what I've entered in, but let me go and redo my stop loss so I can get in on just slightly better risk to reward and with a higher lot size. Manners. I'll update you on whatever happens with this probably tomorrow, because it's already 3:31, so we'll see what happens. One thing I wanted to just quickly cover, the reason I'm re-entering this trade or entering another trade right now, I have my can I show this? You see that? You see these pieces of paper on the wall right here? Those are my that's my trading plan. And on my trading plan, it's specifically states I need a liquidity sweep, a change of character and or slash a break of structure, a retracement into an imbalance slash supply demand for entry. The reason I'm re-entering or getting into another trade, even though we just lost a trade, is simply because the same situation, the same stuff that is showing on my trading plan, that I have written down on my trading plan, is occurring right now. It wouldn't make sense for me to not enter and to just move away from the markets. I've taken one loss on the day, and on top of that, in my risk management strategy, it says taking losses. After two losses within a day, I must stop trading so that emotions do not creep in. I've only taken one loss. Therefore, I can still enter this trade
knowing that everything within my trading plan has been encompassed within this trade. As you can see, we have had the sweep of London session highs here, sweep of London session highs, change of character, break of structure. We will have a retracement into this zone if all works out perfectly for me. Simple as that. Everything has shown me that this trade can still move in the way I want the market to move. Higher time frame, I'm also bearish, so there's no reason for me to hold away from this trade. I'm going to get into this trade because I believe that this trade can do what I want it to do. And yeah, I have also have another thing. It says trading reminders. Close. No. He who hesitates is lost. He who hesitates is lost. In this trading game, you should not hesitate. In this trading game, if you see everything you want to see plays out, get in the trade. There's no reason to have any fear. It says, he who hesitates is lost. Then it's got an arrow. It says, execute confidently. Then it's got an arrow. No fear. I keep these things there to remind me. If I see what I want to see, boom, execute. He who hesitates is lost. And always keep that in mind. Do not revenge trade. Do not trade because you lost a trade. Do not over trade. Do not over leverage. But I've only lost one trade today. I'm happy to lose another one because that is what's on my trading plan. Everything I want to see in order to enter a trade has occurred, so I'm re-entering the markets. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not over trading. That's not over leveraging. That's not being irresponsible. I'm seeing everything I want to see. There's no reason for me not to get in the trade. Do you understand? So that's one thing I wanted just to mention. That's one thing I wanted to tell guys that watch these videos in order to learn from me, or watch these videos in order to keep up with my journey and see what I'm doing, or watch these videos just because they have a passion for trading. He who hesitates is lost. Yo! So we're in the trade. We're still in this trade, or not in the trade. We haven't been tapped into the trade yet. However, I am going to remain to hold this until probably about 8 p.m. If we don't get tapped into this trade by 8 p.m, I probably will remove my limit and just allow price to play out however it wants to, simply because I know from the knowledge that I've gained over the past couple of years, the 7 to 8 p.m. range is a range the 7 to 8 p.m. range is a range where trades can get tapped into on the 7 to 8 silver bullet session. However, that's not something I normally trade. However, I do understand that there is volume in the market at that point in time. Now, we have created this area here, or we could go and do that. We've created this area that price could, and I do believe price will come and invalidate, simply because this is simply a build-up of liquidity. I'm hoping price decides to come up and take out this trend line liquidity, tap me into my session, or trap me into my trade and push me down where I want to get pushed down to. But whatever happens does happen. At the end of the day, we can't predict the markets, and the markets will do whatever they want. I'm still confident in this trade. This 1 minute area of supply is still valid. It hasn't been mitigated, so we will still hold this trade. We're holding support here very, very nicely, very, very well. And at the end of the day, whatever happens, happens. Like I said, at 8 p.m, I probably will close out this position on my trade locker, just simply because volume will die down. But we'll see what happens, man. Manners and respect, people. Yo, family, what you telling me? As you can see, we were completely right about direction, completely right about our bias for the trade. However, we just never really, we didn't come up to my supply zone. I'm looking now and I'm trying to see if there was any other point for us to get into the trade, but realistically there was no trade entry. There probably was a 3 to 4. Let's have a look. See, 4 p.m. There was a 3 to 4. Yep, there was. Here we go. There was a 3 to 4 p.m. Fair value gap entry we could have entered on. 1, 2, 3 stops above there. TPs all the way down to
Asia range lows. We could have entered there, however that would have been a 5.22 and I was going for a much higher risk to reward. As you can see, this trade was a 17.09 RR. Would have closed out half of the position at 3R, but we never got tapped in. That is just simply the way shit works sometimes, and unfortunately we didn't get tapped into the trade. So I am about to get rid of my entry or my sell limit on Trade Locker, and we'll be back tomorrow morning, I believe, unless there's any news. Let's have a look. Tomorrow there is GBP. There's quite a lot of GBP news in the morning, so we'll stick to EU in the morning tomorrow. It's unfortunate that we didn't get the entry. We were completely right about direction, but sometimes these things just don't play out for you, and that's the game. The aim of the name of the game. As I always say, manners and honourable respects. Morning, people. Yesterday I took a Euro USD sell. I didn't record it because I was just really busy and I just wasn't in the mood to be recording or talking yesterday at all. But we're looking for did I say Euro USD sell? Yeah, I took a loss on the Euro USD sell yesterday. About 3 o'clock. It was a 3 to 4 p.m. silver bullet entry. Took a loss. Now I'm looking for a GBP USD, potentially a GBP JPY sell, but GBP USD is looking a lot better. We've had this 15-minute supply zone get tapped in. We've swept our Asia range highs and we're pushing down. Just looking for a re-entry zone now, or a change of character, break of structure, and then a re-entry zone. But I'll update you. Yo, so it doesn't look like we're going to get an opportunity to enter any trades today. What was I talking about first? I was talking about GU. So we've had this 5-minute supply zone that looks like it's about to get invalidated in 8 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, boom. Supply zone invalidated. Higher time frame. We are still bearish in my opinion. However, we got the sweep of Asia range highs. We haven't come down to change character and break structure. Same thing on GJ. We had the sweep of Asia range highs. We broke structure on the 1 minute. We had a change of character. This low here got changed here. Break of structure here on this point here. I put this supply zone which I was going to enter off of. However, I didn't get my entry in time, which was lucky because as you can see the supply zone failed and my stop loss would have been here. So we would have literally got stopped out of the trade immediately. We've got a failed supply zone. And then on Euro USD, same kind of thing, just nothing. We've not had any reaction back to the downside, so I probably won't be trading London session unless something happens in the next hour or so before I start training. I'm gonna have to start getting ready in about 20 minutes to leave, but we'll see what happens, and I'll probably be back in New York session. But there is NFP, so there's a chance that I'll probably push my entries or push my analysis back to 2 p.m. for New York session, but it doesn't look like there's gonna be any opportunities the rest of this week in the trading markets for me personally, just because I'm not seeing exactly what I want to see. There's been certain trades that I could have entered, but in order to enter it, I would have had to break my trading plan, and there's just no benefits to breaking my trading plan at any point in time. It's just creating bad habits. So we're minus 2% on the account at the moment, but still a lot more opportunities to come next week. So I have entered a position. We've actually ended up getting a change of character, as you can see here. Boom, change of character. Boom, break of structure. My only problem with this trade is that I'm not sure. I'm not very good at determining the break of structures on a lower time frame, simply because this could also be seen as a break of structure. This might be seen as, some people might consider this as the overall break of structure, but at the end of the day, this low did lead to this high, which was then changed here and blah 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 blah. So I've entered a sell limit at this point here, 1.03982 with my sell, with my TP all the way at Asia range lows. Hopefully we get tapped in. We'll see what happens. All the elements of my trading plan are present, so it is what it is. Yo people, as you can see, we are in Euro USD sells. As you can also see here, I have already closed out half of the position. I closed half out once we reached 3RR, or just under half. I don't know, just because of spread and stuff like that. It was just under half of the position, and I'm letting the rest run to full volume. This is just more of an example or of an explanation as to why we got in. As you can see, I did move my break of structure simply because it just made more sense. So we had a change of character here, break of structure here. We had a 1 minute supply zone that got formed here. Let me just do this so you can see supply test demand, and let me turn it into just supply. We had a 1 minute supply zone that got created. We changed of character, or we had a change of character, then a break of structure. After the break of structure, we looked for the supply zone, got tapped in perfectly, pushed straight off of it. 3R was about here where the alert is, so I closed half of the position and we're letting the rest run to Asia range lows. As you can see also, I wanted to talk about this, there's been a lot of losses. We've taken quite a few losses, and that's due to me being on the new funded account. I kind of found myself being a bit impatient. However, this week I haven't taken it as I have taken a few trades this week. I think I've taken 2 trades this week so far, maybe more. But I've been waiting for like an A+ setup this whole week, such like this. I've been waiting for a sweep of Asia range highs, change of character. I've been waiting for this perfect setup to occur on my trading in front of my eyes for the whole week. So it shows that patience does play, because if once this does hit full TP, I'm confident this will hit TP. It will bring us completely out of drawdown, make us back all of the losses we have taken on the account, and then bring us to plus 1.25% on the funded account. So patience plays, man. Just be patient and wait for what you know you want to see, and if nothing else happens, don't act. This is what we like to see. This is exactly what we like to see on the charts, mate. We love to see shit like this. We love to see shit like this, don't we? TP about to get smashed through. So that's a good trade for today. Brings us to a good point for the end of the week. Brings us to a green week. Can't complain with it. On to the next. Yo people, what are you telling me? I just wanted to come and talk about the trade I took this morning on EU. It was a loss. So what the reasons for the entry? So we had a sweep of Asia range highs, as you can see up here. This is Asia range highs. We had a sweep, boom. We had a change of character, break of structure, on top of the fact that higher time frame analysis shows me that I'm bearish on EU. So followed by the break of structure, we had this supply zone that was formed on the 5 minute. Yep, 5 minute supply zones. Entry at 5 minute supply zone. Simple. Bish bash bosh, stopped out. However, now I am in a GBP USD trade because this morning I was going to potentially enter GBP USD for the same kind of trade, and that trade would have went well. However, actually no, it wouldn't have, because we had a lot of just iffy price action. So I would have been tapped in here, there would have been the supply zone here, I would have been tapped in and got stopped out, and then price would have rallied down to my overall take profit. However, I got in on Euro USD, so I didn't get in on GBP USD. Now what I have noticed is that we have had during New York session, and I have my New York session set out at 2 p.m. because 1:30 a lot of stuff happens, like liquidity inducements and stuff like that, so I won't enter before 2 p.m. We had a sweep of Asia range lows during New York session. We've also had a sweep of London lows, because New York low or London lows and Asia range lows were equal lows. We swept those out. We also have swept out this higher time frame liquidity here and here. So I have a belief that price is going to move to the upside for the short while. So I have got in on this trade. As you can see, I am in this trade. I was going to go break even at 2R. I might just go break even now, simply because we came so close to it. Yeah, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go break even now because we came so close to it and then didn't do anything else. So I'm going to go break even. I'm going to do that on Trade Locker. But I just wanted to update you of what I have done today in the markets. So people, we were stopped out of this trade at break even. Like I said, I was expecting price to rally up for a while, not completely all the way to TP. Which is why I decided to move break even, because I was going to close out part of the position at 2R. However, we didn't reach 2R, and then we started to reverse. So I moved my stop loss to break even, didn't close anything of the position out, and obviously we got hit out at stop loss. So I mean at break even. So it is what it is. On to the next move. I will be looking for sells tomorrow on GU and EU. The only reason, like I said, I was looking for sells on GU or buys on EU just now, or GU, sorry, keep getting them mixed up. It's just because of the Asia range lows and London lows being equal lows and getting swept out. It looks like we are going to rally to some sort of area higher right now, as this 15-minute doji closed very bullishly. Or 15-minute candle closed in a very bullish doji. Just is what it is. Stopped out at break even. I'm happy to get stopped out at break even on this trade, like I said, just because there was no higher time frame support on this trade, so it is what it is. Morning. So we are in Euro USD sells. I initially woke up and thought I was too late because I saw an initial move off of this supply zone here at 7:23, and I typically wake up at 7:30. I think I'm going to move my wake up time to 7 just in case this does happen again, because Asia range can get swept quite early in the morning. So I'm going to wake up at 7 from now on. However, I noticed that we had obviously change of character, or Asia range higher sweep, change of character, break of structure. We created this supply zone before the change of character. This would also have been a slightly valid supply zone. However, we would have got stopped out if we put our stops just above it. So I got in on the right one because this just seemed too good to be true, too small, and like it was just not as strong, if that makes sense. Because if we come here and I get the, where is that, the price range tool, stop loss would have been 0.5 pips, which you can easily get slipped out of. However, here stop loss is 1.5 pips. I just put it above this high here just to account for slippage and to account for spread. So we've got change of character, break of structure, supply zone created. Put my entry on the supply zone, just at the top of the bottom of the supply zone. However, like I said, I thought I was going to get in too late because I should have been up from 7 because this happened quite early. However, I was just monitoring price action and seeing what happened, and I thought to myself that this zone could still be valid because we had a large push off of this area here, which you could class as like a wick supply zone. So I'm in the trade now because we came back up to entry, and I thought the reason I still got in when my initial entry would have already happened was simply because off of this entry here, if I did get this entry, what I tend to do is I wait for price to reach 3 risk to reward, and 3 risk to reward would have been down here. Now obviously you can say if I had my stop loss tighter we would have already hit 3 to risk to reward, but I would have never put my stop loss there in the first place. I would have my stop loss just above this high here. So 3 risk to rewards here, and we didn't come down to it. When I do hit 3 RR I go break even. So because I wouldn't have gone break even yet, whatever price did means I would have still been in the trade. So my thought process was, okay, if price did come back up here and tap me in, that's good because now I can get in the trade. If price does come back up here and stop me out, that's fine because I would have got stopped out regardless because I wouldn't have already been break even. So I thought to myself, cool, if price does come back up to this point, there's a positive to getting in because it allows me to get in the trade. And if price does just tap me in and then stop me completely out straight away, that is also fine because I would have got stopped out anyway if I got in on the first trade, if that makes sense, if you understand what my thought process is. So we are in the trade now. We did dump off pretty nicely on the 5 minute, so I'm still confident in this trade, and we'll just see what happens. So as you can see, price came very close after tapping me in 2-3 RR. Very close. We came down to about 2.8, 2.9 R, and then we begin to reverse. I didn't move my stop loss and go break even then, or close 50% then, simply because, like I said, we didn't hit it perfectly. But this 15-minute candle is about to close very bullishly, and therefore I have just moved my stops to break even on Trade Locker. I haven't closed half of the position out yet, but I did move my stops to break even just because, like I said, the volume that we're getting looks very bullish. This candlestick's about to close very bullish. Now we're gonna have a 15-minute hammer doji, bearish doji, followed by a 15-minute bullish hammer, which means buyers and sellers are fighting for control of price essentially right now. And as a result of that, I'm not confident in holding to stop loss. The reason I say that is because we came so close to 50% or to 3 risk to reward, and I have to also consider that I learned this strategy from Yarimi University, and what I'm considering right now is if he was in this trade, his stop loss would be here, because I just know how he trades. His stop loss would be right above the zone because he has a personal account. He has an account with a broker with his own funds, which means his spreads are not going to be as large as my spreads, which means he could confidently put his stop loss here. Now, if his stop loss was here, from how he trades and how I learned from him, he would have already been break even and closed 50% of the trade, because for 3RR would have been here for him. So he would already be break even and he would already have closed out half of his position and then let the rest run to full volume. Now, I can't do that simply because my spreads, like I'm saying, are much larger. Not big, but they're larger than his because I am on a funded prop firm account, and therefore I have to consider the fact that realistically we would have already closed out 50% of the position if I could trade exactly how the person that taught me trades. So just because of that knowledge and that idea, I've gone break even. I think we are still in the trade because we came right up almost to entry. I do think we're still in the trade, but that's the reasoning behind why I have gone break even on this trade right now, but I haven't closed anything out because it just makes logical sense to do so and to protect my capital in this situation. Yo, people, good morning. So yesterday I didn't record just because I was pretty busy. We got into let me go all the way to it. We got into a Euro USD sell, and I was right about the initial direction of the price. We had our sell here. So what we had a sweep of Asia range highs, as you can see. Boom. Within this zone, we had a change of character, a break of structure. I put my limit order to sell on the supply zone that was formed before the break of structure. We got tapped in. We came all the way down to, actually, I didn't actually get on this one. I got in over here, I believe. No, I did. I got in here. We had a break of structure, like I said, tapped into our supply. And then we came down to about 3 risk to reward. So at 3 risk to reward, I went break even. I didn't take any profits at 3RR because by the time I realized, I think I went to go get breakfast, and then by the time I realized that we had tapped into 3 risk to reward, we had already retraced all the way back up to here. So it wouldn't have made sense for me to close profits at or 50%, because here 50% was only going to be only would have worked out to be 1%, because I risked 0.5 on most trades, this would have worked out to be 1% or 0.5%, so it wouldn't have made sense to close out half of 0.5% for 0.25%. So I was just too late with closing partials, so I didn't close any partials. I moved stop to break even, and eventually we did get stopped out. That's been happening to me a lot this week. The setups are showing themselves, and they're beautiful setups, but I've been stopped out at break even 3 times this week, I think, because just the setups are showing but they're not running. Today I kind of wanted to get into a sell, but this Asian range is too, I don't like getting in on price action or on trades when price action, the range is that wide. There's such a wide range for Asian range, and I prefer it when the Asian range is a little bit tighter, because this is a whole move in and of itself. It's kind of not a range, if that makes sense. However, on GBP JPY, what we have had is a higher time frame. You can see that we have been retracing. So higher time frame, we are slightly bullish. However, daily, I still believe we're bearish until we break this high here. However, on the 2 hour time frame, you can see that we're coming into a 2 hour supply zone that hasn't been mitigated yet. It's a lower time frame supply zone. Actually, if I go and break it down a bit more, we could say that this supply zone comes from here. So as you can see, we came into it a little bit yesterday, but we didn't sweep anything out. Or this is today, sorry. Yeah, so we've just come into it, pushed away from it, but we didn't sweep Asian range highs because we got tapped into it initially during Asian range. We've had a sweep of Asian range highs now, as you can see with this line that I've drawn. Let me move this over. We've had a sweep of Asian range highs, a change of character here, a break of structure here, and I've now put my limit order on the Asia range high, or on the supply zone that was created after we swept out Asia range highs. I'm hoping to get tapped in and get moved to break even around here, but yeah, I'll let you know what happens. Yo people, so I have got rid of my limit order on GBP JPY just because, where was my order? My order was here on this supply zone. We pushed up, didn't come and tag me in, and we pushed away fairly heavily. I believe the price has already now taken out this area of sell side liquidity down here, and then a further level of sell side liquidity just below it here. So as we've already taken out a point of liquidity, we've already come down also past where 3 risk to reward would be, and I would already be break even on this trade. Now the trade is kind of invalidated because of those two things. We've already taken out an area of liquidity which price was going to be drawn to. So even if price does come back to 2 here, it is less likely to draw back down to the same point it has already taken out. If price does reverse off of this and come up here, it is likely that number one, this area of sell side liquidity gave price enough fuel to then continue making a move upwards, on top of the fact that if we did come back up to my supply zone here, we would have to, number one, have a change of character here, number two, have a break of structure here to the upside, which then invalidates the idea of getting in on a trade to the downside, because I got in or wanted to get in on this trade because we had a change of character and a break of structure to the downside. Now if we have the same to the upside, we can assume the price is going to continue moving upwards for the foreseeable. So it wouldn't make sense to stay in that entry, number one. And then number two, Euro USD hasn't really given us any options. This morning, what I saw, or I didn't see this, I saw this after I woke up. I typically wake up around 7, 7:30, and what we have had a sweep of this Asia session high here. We have then had a change of character here. We could class this as a break of structure, however I would have classed this as a break of structure. After the break of structure that happened here, let me just make it make sense for you guys. This would have been a break of structure in my opinion. Break of structure. After this break of structure, I would look for a supply zone that was formed before the break of structure and after the inducement happened of the Asia range highs. So that would be this point here. We would have got in on this situation if I was up early enough. We would have put our stops above the supply zone and accounted for a little bit of slippage, not all the way here because that's only 1 pip, at least 1.5 pip, maybe even 2 pips here. We would have been tapped in. We would have already been at break even and taken 50% partials because we hit 3 risk to reward, and the rest of the trade would just run all the way down to Asia session lows. So currently we would probably be up 12 RR. However, that is if and what and when, because at the end of the day I don't wake up that early. I did say to myself I was going to start waking up at 7, however this happened 6:36 and we would have got tapped in at 7:04. So I probably would have got to my charts and the move was already happening and I would end up having to get in late, so I probably would have ended up getting in around here or around here, and that's just not, that doesn't make sense for my trading plan. It still could have worked because we still would have been able to get 3 RR and then close 50%. However, like I said, that's just the reality of this shit. Sometimes the move will happen just before you do get to the charts, because I don't wake up at 6 o'clock. That's just not how I trade. That's just not the times that I am willing to be at the charts by, and that's just not written into my trading plan. The earliest that I will be at the charts is typically 7 a.m. and even after that 7:30 a.m. because a lot of stuff can happen between the hours of like 5 and 6 that can just be inducements for the move that will happen later on in the day. So a lot of stuff stuff that happens between 5:30 and about 6:30, 7 o'clock will set up and provide me with information to them of what to do between 7 and 8, 9, for example. So I'm not gonna now decide to wake up at 6 o'clock just because one setup formed for me earlier in the day, when all the setups that I have been getting into recently in the past weeks, months have happened around 7 o'clock. So yeah, manners. Yo people, I don't know how many days it's been since I recorded. However, this morning I placed a limit order on GBP or Euro USD for a buy. We had Asia range low sweep, and then overall Asian low sweep, followed by a change of character and a break of structure on the 1 minute. Put my limit order here, and it looks all fine and dandy right now. It looks wonderful right now. It looks like we're up. It looks like I would have closed 50% of my trade at 3 risks to reward and went break even. But guess what happened? So I got tapped into the trade perfectly. You see where my stop loss is. It's perfectly there. I got slipped out because of spread on this trade. So we came down here and I got tapped out of the trade right here. And we then rallied all the way up to 3 risks to reward. I would have closed 50% and went break even. And I got stopped out right there. So I've logged it in my trading plan. Obviously have to log it as a loss because it is a loss. However, I put in the notes section that the only reason this trade was a loss was simply because of slippage / spread. It was a perfect trade from me. 9 out of 10, A+ setup. Everything was right. Unfortunately, we got stopped out. Now what I'm looking for is potentially, we've now on the 5-minute chart, we've had, obviously you can see the sweep of Asia session lows. We've had a 5-minute change of character and a 5-minute break of structure. And now this 5-minute demand zone has presented itself. So my aim right now is to get in potentially on this 5-minute demand zone and take it all the way up to Asia range highs. Technically the same trade, just higher time frame, and it's very unfortunate that we did get stopped out of the last trade because, like I said, it was perfect. It was a beautiful trade. I didn't do anything wrong. I simply got stopped out because of slippage / spread, whatever you want to call it. So it's part of the game. We are down 1.2% on the funded account now, I believe, something like that, or 0.75. I'm not quite sure. I think 1.2% on the funded account because I was 0.75 down, and then because of this stupid spread, we're down a little bit more. Hopefully we get tapped into this 5-minute demand zone and we can rally up. I've already placed my limits and everything like that, but just giving you an update on what's happening. So we are tapped into this trade here off of this 5-minute zone. We were really like edging edging my entry, so I decided to just put a market execution in where we were, because let me show you. It's a bit weird, but actually I don't even need to show you to explain. When on, like, for example, TradingView shows you slightly different charts to your broker or your executing platform. So on my executing platform, it looked like I should have been getting tapped in, on my executing platform, it looked like I should have been getting tapped in, and I wasn't. So I closed my limit and I market executed basically at the same place because we had come all the way down to my limit and we were literally hovering on top of my limit, not above, not below. We were literally on my limit and it wasn't getting filled. So I closed the limit and market executed just to get filled in. And for some reason, the fill ended up at 0.5 or 0.5066 instead. But we're in the trade, stop loss down here, TP at Asia range highs, and I'll update you later on what happens. I've got to leave the house to go to a GP appointment at 1 o'clock, so I'll probably record and let you know what happens when I get back. By that time, we've either gone deep into profit or we're at stop loss, so I'll let you know. It's just a bit annoying that this morning we got slipped out or spread out of that trade, because now I've already taken a loss today, when technically it would have been a win because I would have closed out half of the position at 3 RR and been break even. So even if we came back down to break even, I would have already made profit on the day. So it's annoying, but we're 1 loss on the day. So this goes to a loss with 2 losses on the day, which makes -1% on the day, when in reality we should already be up.
we should already be up 0.75% on the day. But it is what it is. These things happen in trading, and we'll just take it step by step. Still early days on the account. -1% or -1.2% is nothing. So as you can see, we've been stopped out immediately. It is what it is. Take this as a loss. I'm going to consider this one loss for the day just because, like I said, the trade this morning wasn't technically meant to be a loss. It was just unfortunate the way things played out. Is what it is. I won't be trading again today. I will catch you tomorrow. Yo, people. In the last clip, I might have said that I was done for the day. And that was because I don't think I was thinking too far, or I wasn't thinking too correctly. The reason why I am in front of the charts now is simply because although I've taken 2 losses today, like I spoke about, let me go to the big screen, just webcam. Although I've taken 2 losses today, the first loss was technically a win. Even though I lost money, it was technically a win because I got slipped out. Without slippage or spread, I would have been in profit, and I would still be in profit for the day. And then I would have got stopped out at break even on that trade. So I'd be up 0.75% today. And then I wouldn't have taken that second position, because if I didn't get slipped out of the first position, I wouldn't have taken the second position. So essentially, I'm counting today, even though I've logged it as 2 losses, I'm counting today psychologically as 1 loss, because psychologically I can't get caught up on the loss that happened because of spread, because that wasn't any of my wrongdoing. That was just the brokerage issue. I should have made profit from the trade, so I'm going to consider that in my psychology as a win. Even though I have to log it as a loss, I'm going to consider it as a win because I was correct, and if there was no slippage and things like that, I would have been correct in my analysis. I would have profited from my actions. So I'm going to consider today 1 loss because the trade I took after that was a loss. However, I am back at the charts, and the reason I'm back at the charts is because I still do believe price is bullish on EU. So this is what the 4-hour looks like, and this is what the daily looks like. We haven't come up here to sweep liquidity, so we can't consider this, or this can't be seen as, oh, this was just a liquidity grab, because we didn't come up and push above these highs over here. So we can still consider market as bullish on the daily. We can also consider market as bullish on the 4-hour because we're creating lower highs or higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, blah, blah, blah. Now, during Asian session, we got the sweep of Asia lows, like I said, or during London session, got in on this, got slipped out, blah, blah, blah. Second position, I had here, blah, 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 hit stop loss, didn't take me up to where I needed to be, blah, blah, blah. That's that. This position, or what I'm looking for now on EU, is potentially a sweep of London session lows, because as you can see, just before New York session opened at 127, actually let me move this to here, at 127 we tapped in to this 15-minute order block that hasn't been mitigated prior to just now. So, or demand, whatever you want to call it, we tapped into it. However, we tapped into it right before New York session opened, and that was London session lows. So what I'm looking for is hopefully a pushback down into this order block, a sweep of London sessions liquidity, change of character, break of structure, entry around here somewhere, stops below, TP up to Asia session highs once again. Because I am still confident in my analysis, and I'm not going to allow the fact that I got slipped out this morning to stop me from conducting myself in the correct manner. Also, on GJ, 4-hour looks bullish. 4-hour looks bullish to me. We've had this change of character, break of structure, blah, blah, blah. Daily does look bearish. That is the only thing with this. However, I do believe I can get into a potential buy on this trade, on this pair, if price does create good volume to push us up and change character, break structure, because we now have Asia session lows here, as you can see. Let me move it across. Asia session lows are here. London session lows are just below. So these are almost equal lows. On the 4-hour, on the 5-minute, you can see that the bodies don't close below these wicks here. So they're somewhat of equal lows. Now, I want to see, like I said, a sweep of here, which we're having currently, a sweep of London lows, change of character, break of structure. Now, my favorite pair, or my best pair that I would like to trade today during New York session will be Euro USD. However, I will take the potentials for this trade to play out if I get shown exactly what I want to get shown. On GU, do I even need to explain? Do I even need to explain? What is this? What is that? I don't even need to explain. What is this? What is this, bro? Well, actually, no. Actually, what is that? Actually, what is this? What is this whole thing? This is gay. That's what that is. This is gay. It's gay! But anyway, yeah. That's what I'm looking for on EU and GJ. So I'll update you if anything happens. There is a likelihood that nothing does happen because it is a US bank holiday. So on EU, we might not get much movement. And we might just continue heading up because it is a bank holiday. There might not be much liquidity inducement, blah, blah, blah. So GJ is looking good as well, but I'll let you know. Yo, people. So as you can see, I have a limit order placed. It was kind of a little bit of a messy change of character, break of structure. So we have this London low swept out, also with Asian lows. Then we had on a lower time frame, you could class this as this high here, Floki. This guy's trying to eat my food, fam. Go away, bro. Sorry. So we had this high that got taken out. That could be classed as a change of character. Then we have here this high that gets broken over here. This is a break of structure. On the 3 minute, I just considered I was essentially just waiting for this high to get broken above, to not get involved in the where's the best change of character, where's the best break of structure. I was just waiting for a point where I knew, cool, if this high gets broken, I'm gonna just consider this a break of structure, and that was here. So we broke above there. I placed my limit order on this 3 minute demand zone that was printed before we had the change of character and the break of structure. However, what it's looking like is it is looking like price is reacting off of this 5 minute demand zone. And if it does, it does. I'm not going to try and chase an entry because at the end of the day, my entry would have been gone. However, I am hoping that price does come back to this 3 minute demand zone and taps me in. But as you can see, it does look like price is just about to fly off. So whatever happens, happens, man. Yo, people, I am about to crash out. I'm about to crash out! Oh my gosh. Look, twice price decided to edged me right to the end. I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna get so mad. That's 0.7 pips away from tapping me in. And right now we would be running in 1 to 6.4 risk to reward. But no, price didn't tap me in. I should have got in on this 5 minute supply zone or demand zone and we'd be in. But no, I decided I was going to get in on the 3 minute demand zone, and we didn't get tapped in. GG's, man. I'm not even going to fucking have any conversation with you, man. Just fucking GG's, bro. Yo. So as you can see, it looks like we are in a GBP JPY trade, doesn't it? Until we go over to Trade Locker and we see that somehow I didn't get filled twice. How does price come all the way here and all the way here and not fill me in on this buy limit? I'm just gonna start getting pissed off. This is the second time that this has happened to me, and I hope it's not a recurring issue. I'm gonna move my limit up a little bit because of spread, but shit's crazy. So this looks a little bit weird that my limit's here, but as you can see in the top right, we have essentially 14 spread, which is equivalent to 1.5 pips, 1.4 pips. So my demand zone is technically actually on 191, 139. However, if we consider spread, it means that we should get in at 191, 154. So I'm just gonna have to start doing the things like that from now on, even though it's not right and I shouldn't have to because of the spread, but I've got to consider these things and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go move my limit on GU as well and do the same thing, consider spread. Believe this shit, I'm gonna start getting mad. This is the second day in a row or third day in a row where spread has just violated me. Look at this, look at price. 1 to 3 already would have been break even, 50% off of the trade. Up another 0.75%, but no, spread decides to be fucking stupid, and now there's no point in even me holding this fucking position. I get so vexed, bro. So we are in a trade on GBP USD. We had as you can see, we had an Asia range low sweep, change of character, break of structure,
entry on the demand zone that was created before the change of character or before the break of structure, and we're tapped in, but it looks like we're just gonna get slapped straight all the way to stop loss, which is fucking annoying because I don't understand what price has been doing recently. Like I showed you that GJ trade, we should have been in that trade and we should have already been profitable from that trade. So it's just unfortunate, man, but we're in this trade and I'll update you on what happens. And just like that, we're stopped out of the trade. Here's what it is. I'm pissed off just based off of the past 2-3 days of getting slipped out, not getting filled twice now on 2 trades that would have made me profit, and I would be in profit on the account now. So I'm not gonna stick around for too long. Manners. Yo people, so it is now New York session. As you can see, we have had a sweep of 8 of London session lows after New York. We then had this low time frame change of character on the 1 minute, break of structure on the 1 minute up here. This is the last move down that caused this move up that led to the break of structure. So this is a demand zone that I will be looking to get in on. I have placed my limit order on this demand zone. Let me make this a little bit more transparent. Yeah, I have also put as you can see, my limit order is slightly above this demand zone just simply because of spread, and in the past few days I've been getting not filled into the trades because of the spread. So I'm basically, as you can see here, we have 6, 7, 8 spread, which is 0.7 pip, 0.8 pip. So essentially I have just put my limit order 0.6 pips above my actual demand zone, where the demand zone actually lies, so that we do get tapped in, even if we don't, even considering spread, if you get what I mean. So yeah, it looks like we're about to get tapped into the trade right now. We're in the trade. Yep, we are in this trade, and see what happens, man. Hello people, so as you can see, we are well, you can't see here, this line says 3RR, take 50% and go break even. So on Trade Locker, we are break even on this trade. We have closed half of the position out as well for a 0.75% gain on the account. I'm letting the rest run up to Asia highs for full volume. We either come back to break even and stop me out at break even on the rest of the position, or we take it up to the top. If we do take it up to the top, I believe, let's actually have a look. Positions. If we actually put, where is my TP? 1.04864. 1.04864. We will make another 1.83% on the account, which will bring us to a total of 1.8 plus 7, or 0.75. Quick maths and them things. So this trade will bring us 2.5% in total, which will put us about 1.5% up on the account, I believe. And then we'll just take it the next day, day by day. But yeah, this is how patience pays, man. Patience pays. I've had a lot of unfortunate entries. I've been stopped out. Let me actually look at I have one. So this is what my last week and a half has been like since, let's just say from the 3rd of February. I'm reading from my trading log for you guys. A break-even trade, a loss, a small tiny win, a loss, a 3.17% win, a loss, a break-even, a loss. I got slipped out of that trade the other day that I spoke to you about. I took a loss yesterday on Euro USD. I took a loss this morning on GBP USD, and now we took a win on Euro USD. It just shows you that with a 30% win rate, which my strategy is, you don't need to have the highest win rate. You need to be able to capitalize when you do win, and that's just evidence, or me explaining that is just evidence to that fact. At the end of the day, we catch trades that are, when we do hit a full TP trade, we're catching 7.5 risk to rewards, we're catching 8 risk to rewards. Obviously that's before we factor in our partial closes. However, make sure that you don't get caught up taking losses and get too stressed out about it, because at the end of the day, if you have a high risk to reward ratio on most of your trades, you will be profitable over a long enough period of time, and you just need to keep that in your mind. So I'll catch you guys later today if we hit stop loss at break even or take profit, and we'll be back tomorrow, I believe. I'm not sure if tomorrow we have GBP news. So tomorrow we'll trade Euro USD in the morning, and then we can trade whatever we want to trade at New York. Manners. Yo people, so we got stopped out at break even on this trade. Is what it is. Not gonna complain. We still managed to bank 0.75% on this trade, and it does look like we're gonna keep dumping off. However, I'm happy with the day. Unfortunately, took that loss on GU this morning, but game is the game. We'll be back tomorrow. Good morning, people. As you can see, I have been stopped out of a Euro USD trade. So what we had this Asia range here, had Asia range highs get swept. On the lower time frame, you will see that we had let me go to the 1 minute. So we had a change of character here. Boom. Let me mark that out for you. Change of character. Then we had a break of structure. And we had this 1 minute supply zone up here. So I placed my limit on the 1 minute supply zone up here and didn't get tapped in here. We got tapped in here and we went straight to stop loss. However, we pipped me out of my stop loss. As soon as we pipped me out of my stop loss like that, we had a push down, and as a result of this big push down on Trade Locker, this looked nicer on the 10-minute time frame. We put me out and we pushed all the way down, so I entered again at the close of this 5 minute this 5 minute candlestick, just because I'm still confident in this entry. I still do believe price does want to move down for the day. I'm happy to take a second loss on this trade and then call it a day, because during New York session we've got USD, so after London session's done, I'm not going to be trading for the rest of the day, and I'm happy to take 2 losses in one day. Therefore, I've re-entered this position because I am still confident. If I do take the second loss, then obviously market is going to move up, and I am wrong about this move. However, I'm not going to allow myself to take a loss and then allow that loss to affect my judgment on where I think price is going to go. I still do believe price is going to go bearish, so I got a re-entry on this. Slightly less risk to reward, 3.88 instead of 6.12. However, I'm still confident price is going in my direction, so re-entered. It looks like we are getting pushed back up to stop loss right now. However, yeah, this isn't looking too nice here on the 15 minute, but we'll just see what happens. If we get, most likely we're going to get stopped out on this based off of how this has now created a tweezer bottom, if that's what you'd like to call it, or a double bottom. But yeah, look at this 3 minute chart. As soon as we stopped me out, we dumped down, and I thought, cool, let me re-enter this market, because this obviously wants to dump off from this zone. So if I'm wrong again this second time, we'll just call it a day. So we got stopped out of the second position, so that's me done for the day. Minus 1% on the day is what it is. Like I said, I re-entered this position just because I was confident how we dumped off of our zone, but overall I was completely wrong about the day, so that is just simply what it is. Simple as that. Yo, what's good, people? It is Monday the 24th of February 2025, and we took a loss this morning. We had daily market structure looking bullish, as you can see. 4-hour market structure also looking bullish. My cat won't piss off. So we had then a sweep of Asian session lows as we opened into London session. We swept our Asian session lows. Lower time frame, I will show you. Or maybe it was on the 3 minute. I'm not too sure. No, it was on the 1 minute. As you can see, we had this sweep here. We then had this change of character that took place here. Boom, this high was broken, which is a change of character. Then this high here was broken here. So I looked at the demand zone that was, so this ended up obviously being a break of structure, if you know my strategy. I looked for the demand zone that was printed before the break of structure, which was this demand zone here. Put my limit just above the zone because of spread. We got tapped in. We printed some nice rejections on the 1 minute and the 3 minute, so I thought we were heading to TP, but we never came up to 3 risk to reward, so I didn't get to take out, this area here was 3 risk to reward, so I was going to take 50% off and go to break even. But as you can see, the plan just didn't work out today. Strategy didn't work out today. Didn't really work out on anything. The markets have kind of been a bit rough for me recently, but it is what it is. I'm gonna stick true to my plan and keep trading my plan, bro. Keep trading my plan. A lot more opportunities this week, so we'll take it day by day. What is up, people? Good morning. Wait, is that damn? Look at my do-rag line. Anyway, let's get past that. So GBP USD bullish 4 hour, bullish daily. Asia range lows swept out. We swept out Asia range lows. We have had a change of character at this point here. Let me mark it out for you. Change of character. On the lower time frame, you could say on the 1 minute that we had a change of character here and then a break of structure here. However, I don't really like, once prices move this far away from the sweep, I don't really like to use 1 minute zones, so I'm using a 3 minute zone as it just holds more weight for me. Then we've got this zone here marked out for a break of structure, which I'm hoping to happen in the next couple of minutes. If this breaks structure, then this low here is the low that led to the move, that led to the break of structure. So this will be the most recent demand zone that I would expect price to react off of. So we'll then take price to Asia range highs. But yeah, I'm waiting for this break of structure. If we get a break of structure here, I will enter a limit order on my account. Yo, what's good? So this morning we never got the move on GU that we wanted. We did go to where we expected. We did end up getting in, or market did end up going bullish. However, in this zone here, we had this sweep of this Asian session low here. We had a change of character, and then we came back down. I was waiting for a change of character or a break of structure here. However, in hindsight, what I should have done is realize that we came back down and then created a new change of character here. And let's just drop down onto the 1 minute to make sense for you guys. We came back down, we created a new change of character here. Then here we had a new break of structure. I should have looked for the last move down before that break of structure that wasn't mitigated, which would have been, to be fair, I would have done it on a 3 minute because 1 minute demand and supply zones don't get added. The last, so like I said, change of character, break of structure would have happened in this zone here. So we would have had a 3 minute demand zone here. Let me just change this for you guys. 3 minute demand zone here, entry on the demand zone, stops below the demand zone, TP at Asia range highs. However, I didn't realize and consider this in here to be a clean enough break of structure because of how it was choppy, because we didn't break the point where I first wanted to. We had the sweep here, change of character, and we didn't break this high, so I never ended up actually executing on this simply because I wanted to see this high get broken, break of structure above this high. However, like I said, in hindsight, I'm realizing now that I could have got in on an entry based off of this demand zone, based off of the change of character and the break of structure that would have happened within this zone here. However, it just wasn't clean enough for me to actually execute on, so I never did end up executing. Now we are in on GJ because, as you can see, weekly time frame bearish, daily time frame very bearish, 4 hourly time frame very bearish, 1 hourly time frame we've got a lot of consolidation around here. However, we have swept out all of these highs. Let me get rid of this line so you can see. We have swept out all of these highs over here in this candlestick up here, which also then, let me just put my time zones back on, which also swept out Asia range highs and also London session highs, which were formed around here. We swept them out. We had a change of character right there, and then this low broke structure from this 1 minute low. We also respected this 1 minute fair value gap, so I got in on a market entry. This is how I kind of used to trade, and it works on GBP JPY because on GBP JPY price moves quite volatilely, or with a lot of volatility, should I say. So typically getting in back on supply and demand zones is more of a move that I do on Euro USD and GBP USD. Whereas on GBP JPY, I am kind of happy to market execute at break of structures, especially as this break of structure entering how I did would still give me a 5.27 risk to reward down to London session lows. So I'm happy to enter like that. So we are in this trade based off of Asia range, Asia range highs and London highs getting swept out as they lied at the same place, or they were laying in the same place. Then we had the change of character, retrace into a fair value gap, and then off of that fair value gap we broke structure, which is where I took my entry. So I'll update you guys later on how this plays out. Yo people, what is going on? What is good? I have decided to change the way I approach this trade just simply because of my experience with intraday swing trade in GBP JPY. So as you can see, I had this area marked out here at 3RR to get to close 50% and go break even on this first initial trade. However, I have not done that, and I am not doing that. The reason why is because I remember when I used to swing trade and intraday trade GBP JPY and the way that it would move, and it moves in correlation to break of structures and just market structure better than it does respond to not liquidity levels, because everything responds to liquidity well. However, it just responds to psychological levels and market structure very, very well. So what I've done is this first initial position has come down now to 1 to 2 risk to reward. So what I've done, I have gone break even on this position overall here. Now, if we go to the higher time frame, you can see we have had a large push down right here after a retracement up. So we could say that this retracement up was into this supply zone here, which it actually was not. We could say this was what happened. And we pushed off of it very heavily. Now this push on the 5 minute created a break of structure at this point here. So because it's created a break of structure at this point here, what I wanted to do is layer down onto my position. So I have added another 0.5% of risk to this first position. This first position was 0.5%, and we came to, 1 to 2 risk to reward. So we were up 1%. I've now locked in risk free, so I can't lose anything from this trade, and I'm happy to risk another 0.5% on this trade because the first trade is break even. So I've entered on a retracement and then a break of structure, essentially just because of the strong momentum we got off of this candlestick. So I'm hoping that price will just continue to rally down all the way to London lows. So I've scaled in on this position, and I'll update you whatever happens, man. Yo people, as you can see, we are deep in profit on both positions. I have now, obviously I moved that to break even. I have just moved this trade to break even as we came down to an area that was 1 to 2. So this trade is for completely break even. There is no risk on either of these trades now. And now we either hit break even on all of them, or we go to stop loss. What I think I'm going to do is we either hit break even on both of them, or we hit take profit. What I think I might do is I may potentially bring this initial trade's take profit or stop loss to this stop loss. So even if we get stopped out of this position, we still make at least 0.5% or 1%, because that might just be just over 1 to 1. Let's see. Yeah, that's 1 to 2. So we'll make 1% on that trade if we do get stopped out. So I'm about to do that now. And then I'm hoping that price just decides to actually turn around. This next 15-minute candle just smashes straight through, but we'll see what happens. I have just closed, as you can see, order history, or actually closed positions. I have just closed this position out or half of the position. Not half the position, let me explain it. I've closed this first position out up here. This full position up here, I closed that out. Just because I'm looking at my wall and I've got stuff written on my wall that says make sure that you're always not being greedy and you take some profit off the table. Now, price gave me at one point 125 pips and I hadn't closed anything. I'm in drawdown on my account. I was in drawdown 3.5%. So I've closed that out for, as you can see, 176, which will be 1.75%. I need to not be greedy, and I'm just taking these mental notes that I could hold the whole position, but at the end of the day, I am in deep profit on this first position. I am in deep profit on this second on the scaling of the second position. So what I'm going to do is I have removed my take profit from this second position. I'm happy with taking 1.75% from this first position, which I did. What I'm going to do now is allow price, because the reason I did close actually as well is because if we come onto the higher time frame, you can see in this 1 hour zone we have this big consolidation area here that we keep coming down to, bounce off one, keep coming down to, bounce off twice, keep coming down to, bounce off third time. This could be the fourth push up, and now this is a consolidation zone that's either going to get broken out bullishly or bearishly. So it would make sense for me to close a certain level of my position, even though price might continue to come down and dump down, and I'm gonna end up regretting it. Like even right now, you can see price is deciding to turn around a little bit, but you have to be smart and you have to make good decisions in this game. And I was up so much that I should take something. So what I have done now, what I will continue to do, is with this position, as you can see, this is the scale in, so this is this position here. I have removed my take profit. There's no take profit on this trade now. I've got my stop loss set to break even, so even if we do come up here, I don't lose anything. What I'm going to do over the next, I would say, maybe even days to be fair, because I'm happy with making profit from that trade and keeping this trade rolling. So what I might do with this scaling is I might keep every time structure breaks. So if we break down here, I'm going to move my stop loss to this point. Then for example, if we break down here and then close here, I'm moving my stop loss here. We then come up and then we close below here, I'm going to move my stop loss here. And I'm going to keep doing this on this smaller position for the meantime, just because I do believe if price does break out of this high, this is a fairly high time frame consolidation zone. If we want to take it to the max level, we could say that this is a 4 hour consolidation zone. It makes it easier to look at when you're looking at it on the 1 hour, because if we go to bodies, go here, and then we'll go to bodies, top bodies up here. If we break out of this zone, typically when you break out of a zone, price likes to replicate the move that happened, the range, either in the bullish or the bearish. When it breaks out, it will typically move in that same distance to what it was ranging in. So this is 135 pip range. So if we break out of this range, we could come all the way down here, down to these lows. And I would like to catch some of that, seeing as though it's such a small position, because it's a scaling. I'm happy with trailing it, because regardless what happens now, if we break structure here, after this break of structure here, if we get it, like I said, I'm going to move my stop loss above here. So once my stop loss is above here, every time I move it, there's no risk at all. I'm going to make something regardless. So we'll just keep monitoring that, and we'll keep moving stop loss, and maybe we keep moving stop loss until Friday or whatever. But yeah, that's the plan. Yo, what's good, people? Bruv, I just came back to my computer to record this clip, and I realised that I had been recording. I didn't stop the last recording. I was recording for the past 3 hours and 50 minutes, fam. But anyway, as I was saying with this GBP JPY trade, I did move my stop loss to break even, and then I moved it into profit slightly, as you can see here, by this trailed stop loss line. Unfortunately, it did stop us out in that profit, so we did make whatever. It's not going to be much because it's a small, $13, so 0.1%. But we are rejecting off of this zone very, very nicely. So what I might do now, I'll do it live for you guys actually. Boom. So we got stopped out here at this moment, at this point there. Cool. Keep that there. Then we'll go to the 15 minute. We'll see that, cool, we're looking very bearish on the 4 hour still, obviously, apart from this consolidation zone. What is there that can be seen? Obviously this respect of this 15 minute fair value gap here, and then this dump off. However, I want to see if this lines up with any of my old trading styles. So we are at, we are a whole psychological round zone. So I could say we're at this psychological level. here, boom. For the sake of the video, I'm just gonna get rid of these just to make it more clear. We're at this psychological area, boom. Came down, retested the psychological area. This psychological area also lines up with this 15-minute fair value gap in here as well, but we don't need that. We don't need to put two things. We could also utilize that 1 hour looks like it's going to close nicely in 26 minutes. Anyway, on the 15-minute, we could use a Fibonacci. I haven't used a Fibonacci in time. Fibonacci, we've got a 50% bounce on the Fibonacci in this gold zone here. This would be where my gold zone would be if I had my fib set up correctly in here. So we got that confirmation number 2. Then confirmation number 3 would be, are we closing below again any psychological levels? Yes, we are. We are about to close below this psychological level of 170.5 or 188.750. That's another psychological level. Boom. If we close below this psychological level, what I will do is I will place a order here, not an order, I will enter the market here, put stops there, and I will swing this move down to these lows here, which will be a 4.3 risk to reward ratio trade. But yeah, I'll update you guys. That was just me doing that and breaking it down live for you to understand my thought process on that, because when I used to swing trade GBP JPY, this is how I would trade, and it also lines up with the fact that, like I just said, I want to get in on this move. In the last clip I said I want to get on this move down to these higher time frame lows. So yeah, that's what I'm going to look to do. Maybe in the next 30 seconds that will actually happen, because if we do close below here in the next 30 seconds, I will look to enter. So 189.074 would be my entry, would be my stop loss. 189.074, meaning I could enter with a 0.22322 stop loss or lot size. So what I might typically actually do is, let's see, do we close below? No, we don't close below. Cool. I'll get back to you. Doing a double take on myself in terms of what I'm thinking and what I'm explaining to you guys. I'm just gonna call it there for the day, simply because I just need to take the win. I don't want to get into this habit of looking for or thinking I'm better than I am by looking just because I've got a win, for example, and looking for the next move directly straight away, because you don't need to look for more than one move a day. If you get a win in a day, you should take that win. So essentially I was right twice today. I got in on this move, I got in on the scaling. I didn't close profits on the scaling because, like I said, I was waiting for price to keep making lower lows, lower highs, and then moving stop loss. So we got stopped out in profit on that scaling. I'm happy with that. We hit for a 3.81 risk to reward on GJ today. Would have been 1 to 5.6 if we held it the whole way. However, we didn't, like I said, because we were in the scaling, so I was happy to take profits on that. So this is a win for today. I'm not going to get too greedy and try and get in for another entry. We know that the GBP JPY does want to continue heading down. We're just stuck in this area of consolidation right now. So what I probably will do, let me get rid of these here. Actually, first of all, let me put that back so I can get my little screenshots. You know what I'm saying? My little screenshots. Go get my screenshot. Boom. There we go. Just so I have the screenshot. Yeah. What was I saying? Get rid of these. Boom, 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 boom. High time frame. Yep. Daily bearish. Very clearly. Why is it looking like that? Yeah, daily's bearish, clearly. 4 hours still bearish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto the 2 hour. Let's get rid of this Asian range of the 1 hour. Let's take this consolidation zone. Boom. Let's go bodies, because if we get a closure below here, let's go like that. If we get a break above candlestick wise of this consolidation range, a break, a retest, and then for example, let's extend this out. Let's say we get to the downside because we are bearish. We get this, and then we get a nice candlestick here. I will plan to enter the market here, stops above the point where it retested, and then we'll take price down to wherever seems like it makes sense. So that's my goal for the next couple of days. On why can't I think whilst I'm doing this? That's my goal for the next couple of days on GJ. In terms of the other pairs, EU bullish. We knew it was bullish. We wanted to get in on EU this morning. It didn't provide us the cleanest of entries. Same with GJ or GU. I spoke about that down here. We pushed too far away from Asia range lows to the point where it just didn't look clean for me, so I didn't get in. But we were patient enough, and the patience paid off because we managed to get into the GBP JPY and make 1.77% on the day. So, or 1.85% on the day, considering the extra scaling position. But yeah, get back to you tomorrow morning. Yo, what's going on? Good morning, people. As you can see, I'm in a GBP JPY trade. Basically the similar thing to yesterday. However, it's just happening in London session rather than, or it's just happening as a result of Asia range higher sweep rather than London high sweep and happening in New York session. So I woke up, literally got in this trade within like 4 minutes of waking up because I saw everything I needed to see. So as you can see, we have Asia range highs, Asia range lows. We're still in this area of consolidation I was talking about yesterday. However, I have reason to believe that the consolidation is going to continue and we are going to head down. So, well, this candle isn't looking nice, and that's happened in the past 10 seconds, but it is what it is. Let me explain. Asia range high sweep, simple change of character here, break of structure here, entered on the break of structure. That's literally the trade. There's nothing more to talk about. We have pushed down. Now we're coming back up for whatever reason. Is what it is. If we get stopped out, we get stopped out. But I had the reason to enter the trade, and I entered the trade based off of my trading plan. So that's that. Then on EU, I do kind of want to get in on an EU trade. However, it just doesn't look too clean to me. So 1 minute time frame, as you can see here, Asia range low sweep. We're bullish on EU. So we have change of character here. Boom. Don't need to really explain that. We have break of structure here. Boom. Now the problem is this break of structure happened really early in the morning, and as a result of this break of structure, I would have entered on a supply zone down here. However, we push so far away from this area of supply. If we take this whole area here on the 1 minute, which is probably a 3 minute, yeah, we push so far away from it that I believe that the optimal trade entry for this would have been this fair value gap that was printed here. And as you can see, if we got in on this fair value gap after the break of structure that happened here, we would have been tapped in. Stops below the candlestick that created it. TPs would have been all the way up here. 3RR would have been around here. So 3RR would have almost got tapped into, which means I would be break even on this trade now, and prices come back down. So because I'd be break even on this trade, it kind of makes me not want to look for a entry on this trade now that I am late, because I, like I said, because I would have been break even, I would have also taken 50% of the profits, which means that, or because we got to 3RR, I would have closed 50% and gone break even, which means that the trade would now be a win. So because the trade would now be a win, it doesn't make sense for me, or how I'm thinking, to enter the markets when I would have already won on this trade, because now I'm opening myself to risk that I wouldn't be in if I did get the optimal trade entry. Does that make sense? So, and then also, if we're looking and talking about the 3 minute, you could say that this was a change of character right here. This is what I was going to do, and then this would be a break of structure within here. We would have broken structure within here, blah blah blah. So then, but then the problem becomes, with a break of structure like this, you would say that then this becomes the demand zone, which we did just tap into, and it probably will play out how I want it to. However, because of the way this looks, it doesn't look too nice, because we haven't had an initial push away from this zone. We kind of chopped in this zone a little bit too much and then have come back down to it. It's not clear. It's not a clear demand zone like this is. This is a clear demand zone because we pushed straight away from it, whereas here we pushed away from it, came back into it, pushed away from it, came back into it. So it's not a strong demand zone. And then if I go onto the 1 minute, you might say there might be something in the 1 minute. Yeah, you are correct. We had a break of structure here. That's what the break of structure would have been if we were talking about the 1 minute time frame. Within this zone, even though it would have been change of character here, break of structure here, but let's use this as a 1 minute break of structure. Yeah, this is a 1 minute break of structure. Bear in mind this happened really early in the morning, like I said. So then this would be the candlestick. This last down candlestick would be the last down candlestick that created the demand zone, but we pushed away and we came straight back into it. That's why this on the 3 minute it looks like this, because we pushed away and came straight back into it. So yes, this could be a demand zone. Yes, we may push away from this zone. Yes, this may be a zone I should have entered the market from. Stops below, at least 1 pip below, so 2.7. Dragged it out like this, come up to Asia range highs. However, just because like I said, I'm just not too happy with what it looks like. It just seems too good to be true because of the way we've already mitigated this zone here with this wick. We've already mitigated this, and then if I use 3 minute, it doesn't really look too clean. Now we can still get a reaction off of this zone. I'm not saying we can't. I do still believe we are going to go bullish on the day on the EU and push up to here. However, simply because of the way that it's presenting itself, it doesn't look as clean to me as I would like for this typical entry. And then there's no opportunities on GU because we never took out Asia range lows. So I'm gonna have to bite the bullet here and understand that there is a likelihood that price does decide that it is gonna go all the way up here, but I just can't really capitalize on it. There's nothing I can do about this unless I market execute right now for a 3.96 risk to reward. However, I don't want to do that because on EU I have specific parameters to enter the market, and that's supply zones and fair value gaps. I don't want to enter a market execution just for the sake of it because I missed the optimal trade entry. That would just be chasing the markets, and that's something I'm not going to do. Like I said, I still do believe price is going to head up here on the day. So what we might do is during London or New York session, look for some form of an entry during New York session at 1:30, just because like I said, I don't want to rush into the markets just because I missed an opportunity and make a mistake. It's just nonsensical. There's no reason for it. So just gonna mark out my 1:30 session on GU and EU, and we'll see what happens later in the day. Like I said, I'm in on this GJ trade. That looks nice. We're getting a push down from where we pushed up to. Hopefully we can close below, get a break of structure, and it'll just give me a bit more confidence on this trade. But yeah, that's what I've done this morning, and we'll see what happens. Now that some time has passed on EU, I'm thinking it might make sense now. We've come down slowly and nicely to where I believe a 5-minute entry on this 5-minute supply might make sense, because we use these areas here. Cool. We can say that this is a 5-minute change of character, and then we could use either this area here as a 5-minute break of structure. We could even use this area here because that's a high that got broken, or we could consider this area within here as a 5-minute break of structure. What I'm going to do, based off of how I like to trade, is I'm going to say this is a 5-minute change of character. Boom. Change of character. And I'm going to say this is a 5-minute break of structure. Because either way, if we use this or this, it still ends up, the final product is still the same. Now, before this break of structure, the last zone that was the last down zone that led to that area being a break of structure was this. However, this was mitigated already and broken below, if I am not mistaken. We stayed in it just to the point. We stayed in it just to a point. However, if we get a break below here on this 5-minute candle, or a break below, I do believe that actually no, that doesn't even count, because now if we use this, we can see that it has already been mitigated here. It's already been mitigated here. Boom. So what I would like to see is a potential for price to draw down, obviously, but as a result of this break of structure, draw down into this zone and then shoot off. that now does make sense based off of the way that we've come down. Remember, I was saying I'm not too happy with how far away we've pulled from this 1 minute zone when I was drawing it on the 1 minute. However, on the 5 minute now, we have had a change of character, we have had a break of structure, and it does now make sense to utilize this zone as an entry point into the markets. It does make sense now. Before it didn't. However, this candlestick looks like it's deciding to go against everything I've just said. But I may potentially place a limit order on this zone. If I go, I'm just going to take a few minutes to actually think on it and actually pay a bit more attention to it. And more likely than not, I will place a limit on this zone. Yo. So we've been stopped out of GBP JPY. Is what it is. Like I said, we were inside of this, or we are still inside of this consolidation range. So price is going to continue to range up and down until we break out and retest. So I'm not too mad about this. Like I said, I still saw all the signs required in order to get into this sell. So it made sense for me. I'm not going to be sit here and say I shouldn't have got into this because it was perfect. I'm bearish on GEJ overall. Aside from this consolidation range, I am bearish. We are getting a lot of rejections to the upside from here. However, we're not breaking structure to the upside. On top of that, we are still inside of this, or we tapped into this 1 hour fair value gap yesterday. If I go into the 2 hour, we're still inside this 2 hour fair value gap. So I'm still bearish. I'm not annoyed about this loss. It's just one of them losses that happens. EU, I didn't end up placing my limit. We wouldn't have got filled. We're too far away from it anyway. So that is what it is. And I will be back in New York session to find some sort of a trade. Probably the similar trade. I want to get a trade to the downside on GJ. If EU presents itself with an option to take out, for example, London session lows, then I will get in for a buy on EU if it presents itself. If not, then we're on to the next day, man. Yo, people, what's good? So I was, as you know, this morning I lost that sell on GBP JPY. However, I'm still believing in that sort of market direction. So as you can see here, we have had a sweep of London session highs here. We then pushed swap. We didn't break a structure. We didn't change character or break structure. We pushed up again. We took out this this high here, so I could put this as a liquidity sweep. We also took out these highs here, over here. Boom. We could go with this one because that got taken out. This is another liquidity sweep. Let me mark that out. Liquid. Boom. Then I don't know. Maybe we potentially even came into the last up move was there. No, we didn't tap into this supply zone up here, but we've swept liquidity of Asia range highs, London highs, and then these highs, plus this here, this internal liquidity sweep here. So we've technically got 4 areas of liquidity that have been taken out that will send market in the opposite direction, or now the market has momentum or the fuel it requires to move in a certain direction. So as you can see, we've had a change of character here. I could probably get rid of this internal one just because we had the higher time frame sweep. So we have a change of character here, break of structure here. I put my limit. I initially was going to put my limit order at this overall 3 minute demand zone or supply zone. However, I think it will be best to get in based off of the fact that I'm trading the 1 minute change of character, 1 minute break of structure. I'm also going to use the 1 minute supply and demand. So I'm waiting for price to come up here. As you can see, my limit order is slightly below just because of spread. How much is that? That's about a pip. I might move it down a little bit more because on trading on my trade locker it says that there's 1.7 pips worth of spread potentially. I've got my stops. Obviously I was going to put them here, but I'm placing them higher just because of spread, because if price does come up here, then we'll get stopped out here. However, if I have price, if my TP here or my stop loss here, price could come in here and then still stop me out, even though we haven't technically actually hit the stop loss. But yeah, I've got my sell limit set on this demand zone or supply zone, sorry. I need to actually make 2 separate ones. I just have the same one for supply and demand, but we have our sell limit on the supply zone. We will take 50% off of this trade if we get tapped in at 3 risk to reward, which will be around here. So we'll take off risk pretty quickly, and then we'll let price do what it wants to do. So as soon as I got in this trade, I got a shitty fill for some reason. It filled me in here
for a 6.85 when my entry was here for a 9.28, and then I've already been slipped out of this position because of spread. So it is what it is. I'm not having the best day anyway if I'm like just away from the chart, so I'm keeping it short and sweet, man. I'll be back whenever, bruv, because I'll be back tomorrow. Let's see. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow for AM for London session, but yeah, man, I'm having a shit day, fam. So I'm out, people. Yo, what's going on, people? As you can see, we got stopped out at break even on this trade I placed. I didn't speak about this morning just because I had to go straight to training, and I did this literally whilst at training. I had marked everything out and was ready for the trade at training, so I didn't actually record like I said. Anyway, what happened? We had a Asia range highs, or let's go to the daily first. Daily, what's it called? We had a break below this low, so daily's now bearish on EU. 4 hour, very bearish. Now we drop down to the lower time frame. Asia range high sweep, change of character, break of structure. Last area that price reacted to or dumped down from before the break of structure was here. So this now becomes 3 minute BOS or 3 minute demand zone, supply, sorry. Limit on the supply zone as it is. TPs were down to Asia range lows. We did get tapped in perfectly. We dumped off perfectly. However, for some reason, what's it called? February price action has just been some completely stupid and not making no sense. So we dumped off. We came down to, as you can see, we came down to 3 risk to reward. However, the problem was I was in the middle of my session here, so I didn't realize that we had came down to 3 risk to reward until we were back up here. So at 3 risk to reward, what I typically do, or what I do always do, is take 50% of the profits off the table, let the rest run and go break even. But seeing as though we had come back up to about 1.67, by the time I realized we did hit 3 RR, I just went break even, because at that point, taking 50% of 1.67 at 0.5% risk, what's that? 0.5% would be $50 on the account. It would basically be, it would literally be like $60 on the account, and then it just didn't make sense to close out that point. I was happy to just get break even on this trade because we had come up so far away from 3 risk to reward. If I was here, and probably should have had an alert here, but like I said, I was in the middle of training, so priorities are my priorities, so didn't see that. But yeah, that's what happened. We've been stopped out at break even on this trade, and it is what it is, but these things happen. February price action has just been fucking disgusting anyway, so I can't really, I can get annoyed, but there's nothing really to do now. So we'll just wait until, I believe, what day is it today? It's Friday today. Let's see, let's refresh this whole page. We got core price index at 130, so potentially we'll trade EU or GJ in New York session. But on GJ, look at this. Since when? Since the 21st of February, we've literally just been in this disgustingly nasty, what's the word? Consolidation zone. So there's not really much for me to do. There's not really much I'm gonna force on this. I would want to see a breakout and a retest from in some sort of direction on this. And then, like I said, EU, I'm still bearish for the day. Even though we got stopped out of break even, I'm bearish, you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens, man. Yo, people, what is going on? So as you know, this morning I got stopped out of Euro USD at break even, as seen in the last clip. So what's just happened now? London session highs, let me mark these out for you. London highs. I am bearish on GJ, even though we are in this consolidation zone here. I still am more believing that, or I believe more so, that price is going to break out of this consolidation range and go bearish, simply just because we are in a bearish market. We are also respecting and filled in this 2 hour fair value gap. Let me just bring it up a little bit so it's at the right place. Literally, these bodies didn't close above. We're rejecting it. We keep coming into it. Blah, blah, blah. Simple things there. Simple things there. So higher time frame or lower time frame now, we had this is 8 a.m. This is 1:30. So New York session opened and immediately took out London session highs. Immediately took out these London session highs here. We then had a change of character here. Boom. This low was broken by this candlestick over here. Boom. We then had a break of structure of the low that led to the liquidity sweep. This was the low that led to the liquidity sweep, which got broken. So then I looked for the next 3 minute or next 1 minute or the 1 minute supply zone that was formed, that then price pushed off of, essentially pushed away from initially to get back into the markets, which was here. Perfect supply zone, beautiful supply zone. Even was going to put my stop loss to account for spread on my broker. My stop loss needs to be on TradingView 1.5 pips higher, so it needs to be here essentially. If I was going to go for a 7.6 stop, it needs to be 9.1. So I was going to put my stop loss here, but then I thought there's this wick up here, let me just cover this wick. So as you can see, I put my stop loss here. Perfect, beautiful trade opportunity. And look, 20.22 risk to reward ratio all the way down at Asian session lows. Obviously, London session lows come into play, so I would take some off at London session lows. However, 3 risk to reward would have been here, so I would have taken 50% of the trade off way before London session lows even got tapped in. So then I would have just left the rest of the volume to play out if it wanted to play out to Asian session lows or to break even. Now, I don't know what's been going on in February, bro. I actually don't know what's been going on in February. But this price action, one sec. Where was I? I said this price action, yeah, in February has just been stupid because, for example, like, obviously market can do whatever it wants, but at this point here, there was no need for price to come and take out this area, unless you're talking about this 1 minute supply zone up here that we would have got tapped into, and that would have been an even better trade. However, that doesn't line up with my trading plan, because once price breaks structure, you look for the supply zone that is the supply zone that is closest to where the break of structure just happened. So entering off of this supply zone up here would have just been unnecessarily. I would have been looking for something that is more unrealistic, for example, because if I did this, boom, this would have been something even more stupid than a 1 to 20, unless I'm wrong. 1 to 25 RR. So that's just how I trade. I trade off of the imbalance that comes into play straight after, or the supply and demand zones that are nearest to where the break of structure happened, and it just made more sense to do here instead of up here. I was going to put the stop loss there, but there was no reason. If I'm entering off of this supply zone, my stop loss needs to be behind the supply zone. Anyway, we get pipped out by the stupidest amount, is what it is. These things happen. However, as soon as that happened, we printed this nice 3 minute doji and this other nice 3 minute bearish doji. So I entered the market straight after this closed, got filled just down here, and my stops are above this high now, aiming to go down to the same place. But it's just unfortunate that I couldn't sit here and say to you, oh, I should have got off of this supply zone here. But it doesn't make sense for me to say that, simply because why doesn't it make sense? I had it in my head. It doesn't make sense for me to say that because I wouldn't have done that based off of my trading plan. My trading plan, as you can see, change of character happens here. This break of structure happens here. Before this break of structure, where was the last point where price went up to before it broke structure? Clearly here.
Do you want sorry.
Clearly here. So I pushed my limit on that place, on that supply zone right there, and we got stopped out. It is what it is. Can't complain. But like I said, I am back in price. I'm back in the markets on this market execution, just because of the things I saw. Like you said, I got this 5 minute doji, this 3 minute double doji bearish candlesticks. I can get rid of all of this now just because it's unnecessary, and just keep that like that. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. So as you can see, we got stopped out on this second position, this re-entry that I got into. Is what it is. Now minus 4% or 3.99%, something like that, on the funded account. Is what it is. February has been a very horrible month for me. Very horrible month, but it is what it is. This is the end of
season. I don't even know what episode this is, bro. I have no idea what episode this is. But this is the end of this episode. Try to get this video up in the next 2-3 days. I think I've got like 2 hours of footage, so I might split it up into 2 parts, but minus people.